Ooh, that looks tasty. Welcome folks, today the Hungry Gamer is back with another mini preview, and today we're talking about Echoes of the Sundering. Now this is an upcoming adventure game that I got to check out on TTS about a week or so ago, and full disclosure, this is completely a first impressions video. I got a single demo on TTS, and then in the follow-up to that demo, I got kind of shown where the game is going. So please keep that in mind as you consider what I have to say in this video. Now, what this game is this is, as I said, an adventure game that's going to utilize a storybook and various maps. And you'll be kind of moving around the maps, then digging into the storybook. It'll tell you what's going to be going on. And then from there, you'll go to a set of cards. And in that stack of cards, it'll tell you kind of what you're doing. And if you have one result, you'll flip to a different card, and that'll be the continuation of whatever the event is. And usually, these are going to be combat. And the core mechanics you're going to use to deal with these is deck building. And each character will have a starting deck that'll be created by combining two different colors. And I cannot for the life of me remember what the colors correlate to, but it's kind of like the job and the background or the race or whatever it is, but you're kind of putting two things together. And in the demo that I played, I wound up being a strategist character, which was super support. Both colors I picked were very much support, put them together, so now I was kind of passing out boons to my allies and kind of working with them. And this particularly was shown as the bag building aspect of the game came into play. And it's not really a bag builder, but there is a small aspect of bag building. Because as you're drawing out your cards, you have a certain amount of energy. It's not called energy, but energy that you're able to use to kind of play your cards. Or you can discard cards to kind of get more of this energy. And as you're playing these cards, often you'll have to put one of your action tokens, which will go into the bag. And as these go into the bag, that will determine who gets attacked if you don't kill off the enemies that you're fighting. Now, it's a lot to kind of try to explain, but just understand that it's deck building. You're playing your cards, which will either do some kind of an attack, buff yourself, or in my case, buff my two allies, and as you play cards, you are more or less likely to be the one attacked from the bad guy. Then, assuming you succeed, then you go on to another part of the story, and you keep on going, and you can kind of move around all the different locations and explore things. The demo that I had, we were exploring kind of this little treehouse village area. I could go to the guy's house, I could go to a fight, all these different things that I could do. And you'll play through a whole bunch of stories and eventually win or lose. I don't know. As I said, first impressions. So with that said, what did I like about this game? First off, I really liked the character creation. It was really fun. I really enjoyed just kind of figuring out what I wanted to make, and I really liked that each combo of colors specifically went with a different kind of character, and that was very, very clever, and it does make replay feel like you can play the game again as a different build, different combo, and really get something different. So I really, really appreciate that. The next thing I'll say is the core events, the kind of stacks of cards that you have as you kind of work through these different things, it's very clever. And clever in a way that the tutorial part that we did, it taught me the game, but it was also kind of exciting and interesting. And then when I saw one of the big boss fights that you could do later, it really kind of went through as different things happened, as it kind of dive out and attack the crowd or whatever. And each one of those, the different consequences you have and different things you have to do to succeed in getting past it, I think work really well. The next thing is the deck building is pretty darn fun. And I say that as someone that tends to be a little lukewarm on deck building. But in this one, you don't have cards. Again, you're buying more cards. And I always enjoy that. And the bulk of the deck build starts at the beginning where you kind of put your things together and you'll be upgrading things as you go. Maybe getting a few new cards. And so I really like the way that works. And I like that. And the deck building play aspect of it, I think, is quite clever and works really well. Especially with the having to be able to buy the cards out of your own hand. I also like that the cards are somewhat multi-use. They're not huge multi-use cards, but I like that I have the cards. I can discard it to get a thing. I can use it to get a thing. I can use it to buff my friends or whatever. I think that works well and makes for interesting different character playstyles. The last two things I'll say are very much tied together. One is I like the art. Obviously, I did not see final art. I just saw bits and pieces of it, but I didn't see a lot of it. I think the art's pretty darn good, and I think that goes really well with the theater of the mind that this game is. This is not a tactical game. You are going to be playing cards out of your hand, and there'll be a single card in the middle. So there's no moving minis around a map. It's no distance and doing any of that. Nope, it's just, this is what's happening, and now we're going to figure this out. And I think if that's what you're looking for, it's really well done. So what are my quibbles with the game? Well, I just said one. It's not tactical. This is not a tactical skirmish game. You're not moving minis around. You're not getting that kind of D&D on the board style. You're getting the D&D, we're telling a story style play. And that is a little bit different from most adventure games that are on the market right now. And to go with that, there's a lot of reading. There's a lot of reading, especially if you're going to be playing with other people and only one person is doing the reading. It's a lot. And just the tutorial I did, I don't know, I read like 2 pages, just 2 full pages of text, and then I let somebody else read like the 3rd page. So there's a lot of reading going on. That might not be what you're looking for. There's a lot of story that you're going to be taking in to fully appreciate this game, though it does come in kind of small vignettes, but still several paragraphs at a time you're going to be reading. The last thing I'll say is this game is a lot about teamwork, and part of that is, yes, I did select a character that was all about support. But even despite that, we were having big, long conversations back and forth like, well, I could do this, and if you do that, and maybe we can do this together. And it was cool. But also, definitely leaves room for an alpha player. There was the designer who we were playing was very good about letting us kind of make our decisions and make suggestions when we asked for them, but very easily could turn into, well, you're going to do this, and you do this, and you do this. And also, it meant that some of the turns were slow. And so that's just something to keep in mind. There's a lot of discussion you have to really succeed here, and that will speed up, I'm sure, as you become more familiar with the cards and what they do, but something to keep an eye on if that's not your jam. So there you have it, folks. That is Echoes of the Sundering. This gave me real strong vibes of role-player adventure, except instead of dice chucking, you are deck building, and it's more collaborative, I would say, as you're kind of working with each other. But I don't think it had as Role-Player Adventures does, I have this item, I'm going to use it. Kind of the point-and-click adventure video games from back in the day. Oh, I have a piece of bubble gum, and I have a ring. I'm going to put them together and chew it and blow a bubble, the ring's going to float away. Like that kind of thing, I don't think is in this, but definitely has vibes of role-player adventure. And I bring it up again, one, because I really like role-player adventure. I really enjoyed that game, but that style, a lot of story and then small bursts of action that you're using your cards to do. But there you have it, folks. That is my first impressions of Echoes of the Sundering. As always, if you found this video useful, please like, subscribe, share, maybe become a channel member. As always, thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.